Hello, everybody. I am Hoarder Gamer, and this is Hoarder's Comic Flex. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a nice week. Later today, we're going to have a review of Batman 148, but that's later. Right now, we're going to talk about video games. That's like how I like to start up the show. There's a lot to talk about. First off, I guess I'm going to get something off my chest that I find really frustrating. And I don't understand what's going on with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League or with WB Games. So, just to add insult to injury, for the second time now, a friend of mine, Jay Shockblast, has had to deal with not getting access to one of the character dolls that's in the game. And you buy a comic book, you get a code, and you're supposed to easily be able to redeem it to get this little figurine, a digital figurine, right? It goes on your gun. It looks cool. This one was Clayface. The first one he had an issue with, I kind of made fun of him because I was like, oh, you need the leprechaun. It's a version of Mad Hatter, but it totally looks like a leprechaun. Anyway, the part that's not so funny is, like I said, that's the second time that happened. And Jay is one of the biggest voices that has been open-minded and very accepting, understanding of the issues Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has had. And he's been a booster for the game. But I understand that, you know, how much longer can that happen when the game does things like that, how there are still people that cannot play the game due to glitches, how they don't know how to put story into a season. They don't know how to interject story. I have never played a game that had seasons or expansions, anything like that, that did such a piss-poor job of having a narrative. Especially when they claim that there were more cinemas and more story than any of the other games they've made. So this part goes to Rocksteady, I have to say, because it feels like they lied about that. Or a lot was there and it was cut for some weird, insane reason. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, that was the claim. You can go back and watch the preview videos and stuff that Rocksteady put out talking about Suicide Squad, and they kept talking about the narrative in the story. One cinema that's like 2 minutes, and then just going and redoing the same mission types over and over until you face Brainiac is not the way to tell a damn story. I don't know how they think it is. Okay, then the idea of actually getting the complete story, who knows if we will, because this is a game as a service, and to fund seasons as well as any other features the game is going to have, they need to have microtransactions, right? They don't even do that correctly. They have one of the most anemic shops I've seen for any game as a service. Like skins that really nobody wants. They haven't leveraged any of the comic book skins, any of the film-related skins, except for the not collector's edition, the deluxe edition when the game launched. Those are some of the best suits based on Justice League members. And that was about it. There's no Green Lantern shark. I know just about everybody that still plays the game would buy the Green Lantern shark skin. People that don't even play right now would probably buy that skin and then play the game as King Shark because of how much that outfit was enjoyed in the campaign. Okay, no DCEU outfits. Harley alone has probably about 6 just from the films, the 2 films. All 25 people. No, more than 25 people play it. In fact, I want to say it was like 500 on Steam, which isn't great, but it's pretty decent like about a week ago. But yeah, I mean, I just don't understand what they're doing. And as I mentioned in a tweet today, it almost seems like self-sabotage. Like, I'm not into conspiracy theories, but I can't understand how the ball gets dropped completely. Like, it's just absurd to me. And I'm not ready to give up on the game. I find the gameplay to be a lot of fun. I love playing as the Joker. Of course, I want to try out their take on Mr. Freeze. I want to see all of this. But I definitely need to get out of versions of Metropolis. Let's see more. Okay? Let's get out of Metropolis. Obviously, I do not expect a full massive Gotham just like we have Metropolis for a season. I don't think that'll happen. But like, let's have those incursions show up in Metropolis. Let's have them in what, Star City. I mean, there's so many interesting things you could do with this game. And it's like they don't want it is like they don't want money. And then everyone who says the game is a complete failure gets their mouth completely shut up, because it's been proven now very recently, I was last week, it's the top 8th selling game of the year. The top 8th selling. It was the top 7th last month. This month it's the top 8th. That's still doing really well. That's still making quite a bit of money. And no, I'm sorry, it's not Hogwarts Legacy money, but this game was no failure, and I cannot believe what they consider to be seasons for this game. Marvel's Avengers gave you a new playable character. Okay, so check. We got Joker, right? That's similar to what they do at Marvel's Avengers. But then you had like a 4 or 5 hour campaign with like cinemas and like voiceover furthering the story, and a boss encounter with Kate Bishop. Then it was a while, I want to say it was about 3-4 months later, another expansion, and that was Hawkeye. And that was about a 3-hour story campaign. And it introduced Old Man Hawkeye and another boss encounter. And they actually had things coming to the game, and there was no extra cost for them. They knew how to deliver story. Now, there's other things we can get into at Marvel's Avengers. There weren't enough different types of bosses. You constantly had to fight like Taskmaster and Abomination. That was an issue. But they at least knew how to deliver story and, characters and all that. So the character part, yeah, Joker's great. He's excellent. But that doesn't take care of the fact that there doesn't seem to be any further or forward momentum with the story. I just don't get it, And like I said, I'm not ready to jump ship. I still like it. But can anyone give me a legitimate reason as to why the Harley outfits from the movies aren't in there? Male and female players of this game, I think both would be interested in those outfits. I've talked to many a person about certain comic book outfits and things like that they would like jump at to get. Why aren't they there? Why? I don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm not even going to beat them up over the idea of them having, a gender-bent version of Mr. Freeze as the next character. I'm interested in playing them. I want to see what they're like. I want to see what their traversal's like, I want to see what alternate outfits they have that might be more in keeping with a Mr. Freeze look, And then, we're finally going to get Deathstroke as the 4th character. Is there going to be a 5th character? Will they ever let us know? What can realistically be done to save the game? I am glad you asked that, Mike. There's rumors of a PvE, PvP version that would get people interested. It's like a game mode. It was called Q versus K, and no one knows what that means. That was like a code name, I guess. And all I could think is Queen for Queen Industries versus Killers. Something like, Queen coming up with something to challenge the Suicide Squad. I don't know. I'm just basing it on letters. I have no idea. But apparently, yes, a number of people have mentioned there was this like PvE PvP mode similar to Gambit in Destiny. And yeah, the game needs more modes. It definitely needs more story. Um, it needs each season or episode, as it were, should be a cinema and then like an actual story mission. Like send us to a building in Metropolis. Have us check it out. Oh, there's someone in there. It's like they did no work outside of putting in one cinema. Like, this isn't how you do expansions. This isn't how you tell story in a game as a service. Warframe doesn't do this. Destiny doesn't do this. And not every mission you get in Destiny do you have to purchase. Basically, during the course of seasons in Destiny, at least over the last 2 years or so, maybe 3, there would just be a random 30-minute, 45-minute mission. And that would keep the story going. That was just part of it. That wasn't even something you bought in the season. So yeah. Yeah, and Green Arrow is probably alive, so that would totally work. I don't... See, that's the thing. I don't know if they care if the game survives. It seems like self-sabotage at this point. Like, they gave up. Like, they gave up, or they have a mandate just to get what's out there done and polished up a bit, and then they're just done with it. I don't know, man. It's very frustrating. Because it's a great game to play. It's a lot of fun to play it. But then, like, you're like, where's the story? You know? Where is my drive to continue the game? Besides getting some cool weapons, okay? And play new characters. I just can't believe they don't know how to tell a story or how to run a shop in a game as a service. It's just frustrating. Okay, and I think that's enough about that for this week. Let's see. Cool news. What is it? Friday, we have Summer Games Fest. And insanely enough, apparently IGN has their game thing too. The same damn day. It might be part of Games Fest. I don't even know anymore. I'm confused. I'm a little confused on that. But anyway, I think what's going to happen is we'll get a shadow drop of Vampire Survivors for PlayStation. Ponko loves to do little like trailers and reveals and things at these events all the time. So I could totally see them be like, hey, we said summer, we're dropping it today, and PS4 and PS5 would get Vampire Survivors. I think that could be the shadow drop that people are anticipating. Because everyone anticipates now a shadow drop at either a Summer Games Fest, at a PlayStation State of Play, Xbox event. They're expecting a shadow drop. So to me, Vampire Survivors just makes sense. I could totally see it being ready for PlayStation, and I love the game. I'll definitely stream a lot of it. I've played a lot of it on Xbox. I don't mind starting over again. You start out very, very weak, and then you like kind of build yourself up. So it's an interesting game in that way, and it kind of created its own genre, which is really impressive. And it's a vampire game without any vampires. So imagine all the trappings of Castlevania, but no vampires. Like everything, you know, like Sypha Belmontis type character, Richter Belmont, Simon Belmont type character, but no vampires. All the weapon types as well. Whips, axes, holy water. But yeah, super awesome game. Oh yeah, Crinky, I think it's great. I think it's great. And like the game retails for like $5 and is like probably 100 hours of gameplay. Like there is a lot to it. If you want to do everything in it, it's going to take you a long time. I really like it a lot. I'd say I was probably 30 hours in until I started getting a lot of those cards. There's like tarot cards. I don't think they call them tarot. I forget what they call them. But there's these special cards that a match will start with, and you choose one, and it like powers up your character in some way. Yeah, the most I think it was $2.50 or $5 for Contra, but I expected that to be a little bit more expensive anyway because of Konami being involved. But yeah, the other expansions are like $2, $1.50. So the entire game with all the expansions right now is probably $10. Oh, maybe 15. Maybe 15. If Contra was 5, then maybe 15 for absolutely everything. That's since like 2021 now. That's a lot of content, and they're not done. So that's cool too. They are not done. And once it comes to PlayStation, who knows? Maybe we'll get like Death Stranding, Horizon. I mean, hell, we could get something from Xbox too. Who knows? I have no idea how the deals work with Ponkel. As far as I recall, the studio's only like 4 or 5 people and started out with only 2 or 3. So it's pretty wild. But yeah, so I think that could very well happen. I would love to see Wonder Woman, but now there's a rumor that it's in rough shape. Part of that rumor comes from Greg Miller, who was on Kind of Funny, but his actual wording said, within the last year, I've heard this. So if that was like 6 months, 9 months ago or something like that, maybe they've had a turnaround. Maybe things are in better shape. He made it seem like he didn't hear anything recently. Like it was something within the last year that he heard. And what's really weird is no one is commenting on that. None of the websites that are talking about the comment or anything are mentioning, yeah, within the last year I heard. So I thought that was odd. You know, I want to be hopeful for this Wonder Woman game. I think it could be really awesome. If WB doesn't, I guess, F it up. Like, I don't know what to say. But yeah, there's that. There's a ton of studios there. So right now, one of the most interesting rumors is that we're going to see Final Fantasy IX Remake at the Xbox event. So that's an interesting rumor. I don't know if that's going to be true, but I'm interested in that. I like Final Fantasy IX a lot. I tried to play the remastered version, whatever that's available now on Xbox, and I had trouble telling what was actually background and what were doors. So I think I just sort of gave up. I'm trying to move through the city, and I'm like, is this a wall? Is this a door? And what looked beautiful on the original PlayStation is hard to understand and discern on modern screens. I don't know. I might try that again, but yeah, it didn't go well. I'm very much hoping for Fable at the Xbox event, and Xbox Live Mike and I will actually go into much more detail about our predictions for Summer Games Fest and the Xbox event at our show tomorrow, Games on a Plane. So just gamesonaplane.com, roughly 7:30 p.m. Central, we'll be playing a game and talking a lot about the very near future of games. Fallout 3 Remastered might be... See, I was thinking that too. My basing that, though, was that Todd Howard was like... He was hinting that it wouldn't be years to get more Fallout. And I don't think he meant an expansion to Fallout 76. And if I'm looking at it that way, and the popularity of a new show, I'm thinking, like, what about a remaster or remake of Fallout 3? That's something that could probably come out in, like, a year or two, you know? Depending on how big of a team you had to work on it, right? If you have a skeleton crew, it's going to take a while, but... Yeah, South of Midnight, I'm looking forward to seeing gameplay of that. I would love to see Blade gameplay, but I do not expect it. I do not expect that. That would be way too damn cool. Way too cool and probably way too soon. Because that game probably won't be out till 2026, 2027. Fallout show skins for Fortnite. I could see that. See, that skins for a game don't excite me as much as a remake of the game. But, like, yeah, I could see that. I would totally play a remake or remaster of Fallout 3. Let's see. What other... Oh, here's some really funny game news, everybody. This is going to be real quick, though, this part. So, I don't know how exactly. Maybe it was magic. But inadvertently, Multiversus had a feature where if you're playing in the Rifts, which is kind of like the PvE mode of the game, which there's some pretty cool things that happen in it. It's neat, and it's very different than the regular game. Well, they have something that if you lose up all your lives in a more difficult level of this rift, you could buy more. That you could actually purchase more lives. And I believe I have a picture I took of the tweet. Here we go. We'd like to let you know the option to purchase extra lives is a bug that has been addressed and is not an intended feature in the game. There's a little menu that pops up to let you do it. Now, unless, like, David Zaslav is trying to find ways to, like, just squeeze money out of these games, right? These games as a service. And he willed it into reality. Okay, so unless he, like, willed that into reality, I don't know how you could explain that being a bug. Like, that was something that was programmed, and it would make sense to be like, you know what? It was something we thought of, but it was never meant to be in the final game. Just be honest about it. But to say that it was a bug that's been addressed, that's just weird. That's just really damn weird. And, yeah, I guess that's just about all the game news, really. You know? Destiny 2 launched yesterday with the final shape. And it was in rough shape due to the servers. Like, I tried to get on at, like, 8 o'clock at night, and I was finally able to get on at, like, I think 10:30. And it went live at noon yesterday. So... it gives you an idea how rough the servers were. I kept getting the code current. Currant, which is a type of a fruit. I think it's similar to a prune. Or plum. Only bugs I want to see are Bugs Bunny. I agree! I agree! And that's actually a character I will probably unlock. Because he's delightful. He has so many quips and so many fantastic animations. And I won't lie, he even has, I think it's Brunhilde bugs from, What's Opera Doc? I believe that's the name of the cartoon. What's Opera Doc? Where Bugs is a Valkyrie. Okay, everybody. We are done with video games for the week. Again, if you want to hear more about Summer Games Fest and the Xbox event, including predictions, watch GamesOnAPlane.com tomorrow at about 7:30 p.m. Okay? Now, we are going to toy around. I have a whole mess of toys to show you. First up, we have... Bat! Not Batman, the G.I. Joe enemy bat. And not just a bat. Oh, I know, they've done Bat, they've done Arctic Bat. I'm sure there's like Python Patrol Bat. This is the Iron Grenadier. The Iron Grenadier Bat. With this like gold coloring and everything. This pre-order's live, $24.99, available at Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, and Entertainment Earth. Just about everyone that sells toys, probably even Target.com. I like it a lot. Here's the issue, though. Your mileage might vary if you already have Bat or any of the other types of bat that I mentioned. And it's like B period, A period, T period. Like it stands for something. I forget what. Sorry. But yeah, I think it's really cool looking. But I like this even more. The actual Iron Grenadier Trooper. Look at this damn thing. Look at the helmet that is removable. And the weapons, like sword, the guns, everything. That pre-order is also available. Iron Grenadier Soldier. That's a really great takeoff on the original version, too. Like, that looks really good. There's so much detail, and I think at $24.99 with all those accessories, the G.I. Joe Classifieds are really great for the value. I really think that. Next up, we're not done with Cobra. We've got Cobra Commander, 6-inch in a retro package, but more importantly, with a vacuumized metal helmet. Look at that, an actual metal reflective helmet made of vac metal. That's crazy. That pre-order goes live, I believe, the 11th of June. And I know it's available through Pulse. I think it's available through, I think it's the collector market. So I think that's Pulse, Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store. I don't know if Amazon's going to have that. But yeah, I love the fact that he's got the reflective vac metal shielding on that helmet. It's very cool. And I believe it's the first time they've done it. So. Next up, we have Riddle Me This. The Riddler. In a pose from Batman Forever. This pre-order goes live Friday. Friday, the Batman Forever figures go live. Batman, Robin, Riddler, and the next character I'm going to show. And the Build-A-Figure is a giant freaking bat. From that scene with a young Bruce Wayne where he has like the nightmare and there's a giant damn bat. So I will admit, I would have preferred it being maybe like Chase Meridian or Alfred or, you know, all these other characters in Batman Forever. I think would have been a better choice than the giant bat, but it looks neat. Although I don't feel the drive to try to get all 4 figures to make the giant bat. It's just, I don't know. He does have a stand. He can stand, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so we got Riddler right here, but who else do we have? Hold on. Not that. We've seen that. Two-Face. Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent, Two-Face. So those are the 2 figures I really like from this set. The Batman looks good. Don't get me wrong. The Batman looks good. Robin, they already did one for Batman and Robin. So unless you have to have every Chris O'Donnell Robin figure, you know, I don't feel there's a drive for it. Now, what's really interesting is the design of the outfits here are from the style guides from the movie, not necessarily based on how they looked in the actual movie, which I thought was very interesting. But there's very cool, and it's interesting that that's what McFarlane went with. I think it's a good likeness of Tommy Lee Jones. You get multiple hands. One of them makes it look like he's about to flip the coin, which is really cool. But that, everybody, is the end of us toying around for the week. Next up, we are going to look into the near future of comic books. The near future of comics all the way to 1 week from today. Two-Face is awesome. Never a fan of Jim's Riddler. He would have been a better 60s campy Joker. Yeah, they definitely, well, with the Forever and Batman and Robin movies, they definitely went more camp, and especially with Batman and Robin, especially. But they started that more campiness with Batman Forever, and it's really always been in the Batman movies, even like a few elements in the '89 movie, more so the '92 movie, Batman Returns, where you actually have the Batman branded CD player that at one point I believe Alfred is scratching. Like it's a record. And then the campaign scenes for the scenes for laughs that they had with Jan Hooks from Saturday Night Live, and the other person that was in charge of the campaign for Penguin running for mayor. Like, there are definitely campy moments, but there's a lot of dark moments in those two movies too. And I do not feel that Forever, and specifically Batman and Robin, balance that out. They don't balance that out well. DJ Alfred in the hizzy, and that hizzy is Wayne Manor. Actually, beneath Wayne Manor, I believe that's in the Batcave. He does that, but. But now, everybody, it is time for us to look at the near future of comic books. Let's see here. Again, all the way to 1 week from today. I'm not going to completely redo it. I just did it a moment ago. This one has a very long title. Batman Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, #1. So it's basically a sequel or follow-up to Batman Gotham by Gaslight, which was a retelling of the Jack the Ripper story. It's very good. At one point it was going to get its own video game, which would have been amazing. That game got canceled, but I think some footage, at least some like artwork, was shown. So we got to see some of the work behind it. A meteor lands, and basically people start going wonky, and super-powered beings appear in this wild gas lamp era Batman story involving Catwoman as well. So I expect this to be really cool. And yeah, issue 1. This is the beginning of their new Elseworlds, by the way, for the DC Comics. Issue 1 of the Kryptonian Age is next week. Very good chance I'll review this. A very good chance that this is what I will review next week. Okay, next up we have More Than Meets the Eye, The Transformers. Currently one of my favorite comic books. The writing is great. It's true to the characters, and even brings in a lot more depth than the characters had, even in like the 80s cartoon series. Like, it's really well done, and it's kind of shocking to the extent of that. But I like the comic a lot, and I've read every single issue. This is issue 9, so Transformers issue 9, also next week. Real quick on the Transformers book, basically Starscream is basically trying to get back into power, and currently it's Soundwave who's calling the shots. And what it looks like very, very soon, possibly this issue, it's going to end up to be Shockwave calling the shots. And, to me, even more interesting, not every Decepticon is dyed-in-the-wool evil. I believe it was Thundercracker who questions the violence and cruelty that they're, basically putting on humans. So that was interesting to see. Again, more depth than even the other incarnations of the characters. Like, really impressive stuff. Next up, we have Calling Dick Tracy. Calling Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy #2. Okay, everybody. This is not, as one of his solicits said, your grandfather's Dick Tracy. This is a crazy, violent version of Dick Tracy where bodies are piling up and it looks possibly like Big Boy Caprice is involved. I'm not sure for, that it was him. They show the big bad apparently at the end of issue 1, but it's hard to say who he is. He looks familiar. He looks kind of like Big Boy. But yeah, Dick Tracy issue 1 was excellent, violent, and everything you'd like in Dick Tracy, but like modernized sensibilities, even though we're in the 1940s. It's hard to explain it, but it's very cool. And issue 2 comes out from Mad Cave next week. One of the only issues is, everybody, if you decide to go to your local comic shop, right? Mad Cave is not one of the largest companies. So it might be something, if you like, that you'd have to pre-order, like through previews or something like that, or to order like off a comic book shop that has online sales. Okay. And everybody, I believe that's actually all the comics we got for this week. It is. It is. So that leads us to, everybody, the aforementioned review for this week. Batman 148. It's a hell of an issue. Okay? It ends the story arc that was called... Oh, for the love of God, it's not going to say, is it? I bet it's going to be on the last page. For the love of God. I love how they do this. They can never say the name of the actual story arc until like last page or 5 pages in. Anyway, if you've been reading the Chip Zdarsky run, it began with something called Failsafe. When the Penguin was thought to have been murdered, a failsafe happened. A cyborg version of Batman came out of the Batcave to hunt down, apprehend, if not kill, Batman. Only problem is Penguin wasn't actually killed. But Failsafe didn't know this, and I think at that point neither did Bruce. And this thing took on Bruce, the Bat family, the Justice League. This thing was like an engine of destruction. Just insane, because Batman programmed it that way so it could take him down. So after a lot of crazy things happen, he finally takes down Failsafe. Okay? But then the Joker uses a code word in another story arc that controls Batman and basically puts him like in a hypnosis state where he has to deal with a fragmented part of his mind known as Zur-En-Arr, which is something he created basically to keep himself... it's hard to explain it exactly, but Zur-En-Arr comes from a conversation he had as a young boy with his father when they were leaving the theater about Zorro. Zorro in Arkham. They would have put Zorro in Arkham, and it became Zur-En-Arr. Okay? So, when he was unconscious, Failsafe found Batman and basically took Zur-En-Arr out of his head, this fragmentation, this like alternate version of Batman, and put it in his own. And Failsafe became a new Batman. And he basically is working with the mayor, and he has robots that are like doing his work, but everyone thinks it's Batman, even though Batman looks like sleeker and thinner and everything like that. The Bat family knows it's not him, although initially, I believe it's Damian did not know. But Batman takes him on, and it's insane. And it also involves Daniel Captio, who is one of the people that taught Bruce Wayne when he was in his early years of training how to do like, not like yoga, but like mental exercises and things like that to calm himself. Well, he's the person that gave that code to the Joker that was able to put Batman in hypnosis. And he's a dangerous person who is trying to rewrite the minds of the villains in Gotham. And the digital Batman, Zur, is trying to help him do that. And yeah, it's crazy. I know I covered a lot there, but there's a lot to cover because this is the culmination of 3 or 4 story arcs. And I believe Chip Zdarsky is still writing the book. This isn't the end of his story arc or him writing, but like, yeah, this is the end of this arc at least. So, yeah, it was very good though. And the way he stops Zur is excellent, and I do not want to ruin it for you. But one of the coolest aspects is him working with Red Hood again. Him working with Jason Todd, and Jason Todd actually coming to a point where he can forgive Bruce for what happened to him. So there's a lot in this issue. It's kind of insane, actually. Okay, everybody, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Like I said, gamesonaplane.com tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Central, Xbox Live Mike and I. Otherwise, for whatever reason, if you just want to see me, twitch.tv/Hoarder Gamer, and I'll be streaming on Friday more Destiny 2. For sure, some Destiny 2, possibly some Warframe as well. I'm not exactly sure, but I hope you have an excellent week, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.